Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. I'm working on my Easy Breezy Summer button up, and I'm just going to stand up and show you. I finished the side vents, which I'm really happy with the way they came out, and I put in my sleeve. So on Friday, join me for FabFit Friday live at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be tackling the collar and collar stand. And then this shirt will be ready to wear. I'm going to put buttons on it too, but I do want to do some collar stand, collar construction with you guys. I have some cool tips. So join me for that. Today I want to wrap up my sleeve fitting series. I said last week it was the last video, but as it turned out, I had one more thing I had to do to get this to look and feel the way I wanted. If you look at my shape, you can see that I am very square shouldered, linebacker. I also have a broad back. And after adding mobility to my sleeve by lengthening the side seams up to raise the base of the armhole and filling in my wings a little bit, that definitely fixed the issue of being able to move my arm around. But I still felt some tightness that it wasn't just the sleeve, it was across the back and, front to back through the shoulder. So I'm going to show you a hybrid adjustment, and I'm calling it a hybrid adjustment because you need to adjust both the bodice pieces and the sleeve to add room if you have really broad shoulders, broad back. Even if you have sometimes your chest may be broad. Okay, some people have shallow or narrow high bust. Some people have more of a broad span, and I probably have that as well. So let me show you what I did to my personal pattern. Now you can see from the sleeve, all of this green, I actually slashed the sleeve on the diagonal, okay, and I opened it up on the cap in two places. So over here and up at the top on both the front and back of the sleeve, that added room there, but notice because I went off the edges, I also have to adjust the armhole. And what I ended up doing was, and I'm going to color it in for you because I didn't use my green, did not use my green, so I'm going to color it in green. So you can see right here, I opened up the base of the armhole here down to the side seam. Okay, and I also opened up the shoulder, like right above the shoulder from the tip of the neckline to the armhole there. So this spread corresponds to this spread. This one matches this one, that one matches that one. And I did the same thing in the front. Now, it may be that I should have colored these in before I came on, I'm sorry. But basically you can, whew, oh my God, I just drew green Sharpie marker on my new shirt. Oh no. See? Honestly. All right, well, this is live. This is real sewing. If anybody has tips for getting Sharpie marker out of a rayon linen blend, please post those comments below, and I'll try them. I cannot believe I just did that. All right, back to this. All right, so I added there, added here. Let me just show you how to do it quickly on some mini pattern pieces. All right, so what I'm going to do here is, you notice on the cap, these slash marks actually ended up going into the hem down here because it was such a short cap sleeve here. So what I want to do is I want to show you how to do it on a full-length sleeve. So let's pretend, we're not going to pretend, we're just going to make let's make this the bottom of the sleeve here. Okay, so there's our full, like a 3/4 length sleeve. And so what we're going to do is we're going to draw ourselves guidelines that go down into the underarm seam, not the hem. And they're about, I would say, a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch from the notch on either side. Okay, so we've got those guidelines there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a second guideline into the notch area on the sleeve like this. Okay, so those are our guidelines. And because I know I'm going to be slashing and spreading this whole thing, I'm going to just cut my sleeve out. That way I won't be landlocked anywhere. Because we're going to have to slash and spread across multiple edges here. All right, so here is my sleeve. Put this over here for now. All right. And then I'm going to use my handy dandy, I want to slash through these long diagonals. And we're really just going to cut them off. I'll do one at a time. I really like using my little post-it notes because it makes it easy to see what's happening. So I'm just going to glue it on here. And what we want to do is we want to spread the cap half the total amount that we decide we're going to do. And we also want to spread the underarm seam just a little bit. So in order to do that and also make room in the cap, I'm going to cut this apart as well. And basically we're going to put this back together. And I'm going to start by lining up the top of the cap, the amount that I would like to spread. So let's say it's a 1/4 inch. So you can see I've lined that right back up. And then the bottom part of the sleeve pivots, the pivot is here. Okay, so we're not going to open up this. We're going to pivot there, and we're going to create ease in a second location. And you can control the amount of the spread by the amount that you leave the underarm seam open. So let me explain to you what that means. I'm just going to tape a green piece of paper right here so you can see. So watch this now. If I keep this as a pivot down here, that opens a lot. For this little mini, that's a full 1/4 inch. You may not need that much. So if I open up down here just a little bit, then it reduces the amount. Because again, this doesn't need to be a huge adjustment. We just need to add a little bit of room here. So if you need to add a lot, you can pivot down here as well. Okay, but you can see I did approximate a 1/4 on both of my slashes. So you can play with the amount this opens by how much that's opening. All right, so just keep that in mind. Let me do it again on this side. Let's try to be a little bit more organized. I have my fan on because it's hot in here. So I'm going to slash this way. I'm going to try to create a pivot down here so it doesn't fall apart. So see, this is pivoting now, right? So let me get my little paper in here. And then let me tape another half here. All right, so again, we'll start by opening up the cap side, the amount I need. And you can see what I'm trying to do is keep the cap shape, correct. So I'm kind of truing it up as I tape it together, like that. I'm going to swing this back in. And let me just sneak a little paper under here. All right, so now you can see this is coming to a little bit of an angle to this pivot, and then it angles back in down here. And again, depending on how much you need this to spread, you can control it there. All right, so that's how you adjust the sleeve. Okay, and I just wanted to show this on a full-length sleeve because on my personal pattern, again, remember I was working with a little tiny cap sleeve, so the slashes went into the hem instead of into the underarm seam. So I just wanted to show you the way it should work with a full sleeve. Okay, but just remember, whatever you spread on this side has to equal what you spread on this side, because this then sews together, so you want to make sure that your underarm seam is staying the same length. Okay, so whatever you spread here has to match here. And then you want to keep track of however much you spread right here, right here, right here, and right here has to be a like adjustment onto the armhole. So now let's look at the bodice. We'll work with the back first. So here's my back and my back. So you can see I have about a 1/4 inch there and about a generous 1/8 inch down here. So I'm just going to make a note of that. So here we're going to spread 1/4, and here we're going to spread 1/8. All right, just so I have a guide. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my guidelines for the top. And basically, you're going to go from the tip of the shoulder, and you might want to just dash in your seam allowances because you're going to slash to the intersection of the seam allowance on the shoulder right there. So I'm going to go from here to here. And then the same thing over here. Of course, I'm not being careful with my seam allowances, but basically we're just going to go from here to here. Okay, so those are the slash marks that we need for the shirt. Now, I'm not going to do the front because it's exactly the same, but basically you're going to make these exact same guidelines on your front, and you're going to make sure that the openings, this one matches the underarm, and the one up at the top of the cap matches up here on the armhole. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I am going to again cut this out because I need pivots all over the place. I need pivots and spreads. Okay, let me just move that paper out of the way. So for this top slash, I'm going to slash through and make a pivot at the shoulder so I can open it like this. And I'm going to take I think I just need a 1/2 sheet of my paper here, and I'm literally just going to spread that open. Oops. And I'm going to spread it open the amount that equals the spread at the top of my cap. So if you want to bring it over and just double check that you're spreading it an equal amount, do that. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to true this up like that. Well, let's be more on the line here. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing down here. Okay, so I'm going to turn it this way because I'm going to pivot at the side seam there. So I'm going to cut through the armhole, and I'm going to make a pivot at my side seam like that, so I can open this up. And I'm just going to stick this in here. Okay, so you can see, whoops, let me get the paper up higher. Okay, so you can see we want to make this slash equal to the slash at the base of our cap here. You know, so if you want to check it, you can check it and make sure it matches. All right, so see, that's going to add what we need for a, and I'm just truing up by just, you know, I'm just trimming it neat. It will make a little jog, but you can just trim it off like that. All right, so that would be our adjusted back and sleeve. Okay, so you're going to repeat this adjustment for the front. You're going to do the exact same thing. Now in the front, I guess I do want to show you one thing. If you're working with a darted top like this, you are going to slash through the dart. Okay, so your slash will be, you know, if my side seam is here, your slash will be through the dart like this. And then after you spread that, just redraw your dart. So you will be going through the dart if you're working with a top that has a bust dart, and your guideline for the top one will be, you know, nestled into the seam allowance here, you know, something like that. So as long as you're in the straightaway up here and you're through the dart here, it's going to work fine. And you're just going to repeat exactly what I did in the back and the front, and then just straighten out your bust dart. All right, so that's how you add room if you have broad square shoulders, broad back, and after doing everything else, if you feel like it's still tight, I mean, moving the arms, you know, adding mobility is a separate issue from the garment feeling tight front to back and over your shoulder. So I wanted to share that with you, and I hope you enjoyed this shirt and sleeve fitting series and the Easy Breezy summer shirt sew along, which turned out to be a little harder than I thought. And really, next time I do one of these sew-alongs and I'm designing something as I go along, I am not going to pick a striped fabric to work with, because that's really what threw me over a barrel when I was trying to cut out these pieces. I was trying to match the stripes on the shoulder. I got 3 of the pieces to agree. The 4th piece, the second side on the front, I could not get it to match up. And I think it was because these black little pinstripes are woven into the fabric. And I think maybe it was just wider space between the threads that were black on part of the fabric, and I couldn't get it to match up. But it's close enough, and I'm happy. And now I have a green Sharpie marker on my shirt. So again, if anybody has Sharpie marker removal tips, please let me know, and I will try to apply them onto my shirt that I've already messed up before I even finished it, so I can wear it out in public. So but I mean, sometimes stuff like that happens. At least it wasn't the black Sharpie marker. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow during subscriber Q&A, I'm going to be picking a fun subscriber question to work on live at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so please join me for that. I haven't decided what the question's going to be yet, so I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you Wednesday live at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.